one. Did you people have any doubts up till whatever I've taught?
No, ma'am.
No doubts. You people are having a good time studying or a bad time studying?
Both.
Good time, good time.
Both. Why both, Abdullah? You're having a bad time in what? I hope it's not bio.
Yeah, bio is easy.
Oh.
Except
Alright.
the heredity lesson.
I'll make that easy for you. Don't worry. All right. So we will be talking about the female reproductive part. Okay. So the female reproductive part, which is known as the pistil or a carpel. Now, do you people remember that pistil or carpel is a unit of what? It's a unit of?
Ma'am, could you please repeat?
Yes, I'm asking. The pistil, or you can say carpel, is a unit, singular unit of which? What? Of what?
Female reproduction.
No, single unit of gynoecium.
Oh, okay.
And gynoecium is the female reproductive part. And now we are talking about the pistil. Now this is like one part. Okay. So the pistil contains the following part. First is the stigma, then is the style, and finally the ovary. So stigma is this portion, which is the landing portion for the pollen grains. So whatever pollen grains are released, they land on the stigma. Okay. Then comes the long tube-like style. This whole portion, it constitutes the style. Okay. That is a long tubular portion. And finally, we have the basal bulged portion, or you can say swollen portion, which is the ovary. So stigma, style, and ovary are the three parts of the pistil. Now, usually the carpel or the pistil, it is at the center of the flower. Situation of carpel in a flower is central. Okay. The ovary is a bulged, swollen part of the pistil. It is the bulged, swollen part. The ovary contains the ovules and the ovule has an egg cell. Okay. Inside the ovary, ovules are present, and inside the ovules, egg cell is present. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now let us talk about pollination. So this was about the female reproductive part. We have already done the male reproductive part. Now we know what structures are there, and now we will see how those structures are involved in the reproduction process. So talking about the pollination. Okay, see, pollination is the transfer of pollens from the anther, meaning from the male reproductive part, the anther part, the pollens are transferred to the stigma, and stigma is the landing portion, isn't it? This flat portion, this is the landing portion of the female part. So the pollen grains, they come from the anthers and they come and land on the stigma like this. Is it clear? So this transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma is known as pollination. Now pollination is of two types. It is self-pollination and cross-pollination. So let's talk about self-pollination first. So the pollination in which the transfer of pollen to the stigma of the same flower. So if one flower is there, it contains, stigma also, it contains the anther also. So anther is releasing the pollen grain. The pollen grain is coming out of the anther to the stigma and the flower is same. So if the flower is same, then it is known as self-pollination. Okay. Now, if the flower is different, then that is cross-pollination. Okay. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this whole pollination, now see, the pollens, they are not movable. They don't have wings. They don't have legs. Okay. Even the stigma is also not movable. Then how is this taking place? There has to be something or someone who
Yes,
will
ma'am. Agents.
So those are pollinating agents, and these pollinating agents, they are known as pollinators. Okay. They are known as pollinators. Okay. Now, the pollinators can be wind. This is a non-living pollinator. Pollinator can be a water. Water is also non-living. And then it can be animals. And under animals, insects are the most famous pollinators. Okay. So, pollinators are the agents that bring about the process of pollination. Pollinators are those agents. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Now see, for example, all of these, they are pollen. Okay, so now the pollen grains are being brought about either seeds. Okay, let me just tell you how the pollination happens through these agents. So first of all, if we are talking about pollination through wind, so in this case, the pollens are very light in weight. Okay, they are very lightweight pollens. So pollens are made and released by the anther. Now wind blows, and since they are light, the pollens fly and they will randomly lie on the stigma. Okay, this is the wind pollination. Now talking about water pollination takes place in the case of aquatic plants. The plants that live in water, they will only use water for pollination, isn't it? Water can't come from the reservoir and take the pollen and put it to stigma. That cannot happen, right? So in the case of water pollination, like aquatic plants are there, they either release their pollen into the water and then the water currents carry the pollens to the stigma. That is water pollination. Talking about the pollination through animals, more particularly insects. So you might have seen honeybees, they hover around on the flowers. They do so to get the nectar, isn't it? So that they can make honey. So when if this is a flower, if the honeybee comes and sits on the flower, okay, the pollen gets stuck onto the body of the honeybee. For example, it gets stuck onto the legs or to the wings somehow. It gets stuck onto the body. Now the bee has taken the nectar and then it flew from that flower to another flower. Now when the bee lands on the another flower, so the pollen grain gets transferred to this another flower. So this is how the pollination is done through the insects. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Are these all three ways are clear? All the three pollinators, how they bring about the pollination. Is this clear to everybody?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Very good. Now, let us talk about what happens after the process of pollination. Okay. Now, pollination has been done and pollen grains have landed on the stigma. Okay. Now, see, this stigma has to be a receptive stigma. Receptive meaning the stigma is ready for the pollen to come. Okay. Meaning it has to be ready to participate in the process of like the reproduction. And this pollen grain has to be of the right pollen, isn't it? Like, for example, the rose flower should be pollinated by the rose flower only, right? If a marigold pollen comes on and land on the rose, will the reproduction take place? Will it take place? Yes or no?
No.
No. Why? Because the reproduction has to take place in between two similar organisms, not two different ones. Okay. So now the pollen grains are brought about by the pollinators and it lands on the stigma. Now, after landing on the stigma, there is, you can say, sort of a chemical dialogue between them. Okay. The stigma recognizes the pollen and after that, the pollen tube develops. Okay. There is a development of pollen tube. Okay. And this pollen tube extends through the style and reaches to the ovary. And this part is the ovule. Okay. And as I told you that ovule contains the egg cell. This is the egg cell. Now the male gamete will be transferred into the egg cell and fuse with the egg cell and form a zygote. Okay. So if we look at this thing, then the first step is pollen lands on the stigma. Pollen tube grows. Okay, the growth of pollen tube takes place and then the male gametes travel to the female germ cell. What is the female germ cell? What is the name? Tell me the name.
Male gamete travel to female germ cell. Ovule. Uh, oh,
Ovary.
style.
Ovary.
Style, right?
Germ. Where will the male gamete fuse? With what?
Ovule.
Ovary.
On the
Ovary.
female reproductive system.
We are
Ovary
discussing
probably.
female. No, not ovary, not ovule.
Egg.
Zygote.
What is zygote is formed later on.
Huh?
What is okay? First, tell me, ovary is there. Everybody knows this.
Yes, ma'am.
What is present inside the ovary?
Inside the ovary.
Ovules.
Ovules. Ma'am, ovules.
Yes. What is present inside the ovule?
Egg.
Eggs.
Then what is the germ cell?
Egg.
Eggs.
Yes, ma'am.
You're getting? Meaning this, like normally when the
Yes,
sperm,
ma'am.
it will fuse with the egg only, right? Won't fuse with the ovary and it won't
Yes,
fuse with the
ma'am.
ovule. Very good. Okay. Now the male gamete fuses with the female gamete and ultimately forms the zygote. Okay. This whole process is known as fertilization. The fertilization is the process wherein the male gamete fuses with the female gamete, meaning the male gamete of the male part, which is coming out from the pollen. So the male gamete now fuses with the female gamete, which is the egg, and this process of fusion is known as fertilization. Okay, and after the process of fertilization is done, we get a zygote. Is it clear up till now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now this zygote, it divides to form embryo. Okay, now the zygote, as soon as the zygote is formed, it will start division, and after dividing, it will form embryo. Okay, and this embryo is obviously present inside the ovule. Okay, so after this whole development thing is done, the ovule that we were talking about, the ovule will turn into the seed, and ovary, which is the basal part, that will turn into a fruit. Okay, the fruit that we eat is the ovary of the female part, and the seeds that are there, which we do not eat, those are the ovules. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, and another thing is that these ovules, they have a tough protective coating present there. Okay, a coating is there, like how seed also has a coating. Have you ever noticed that chana? You can remove the coating and then two cotyledons come out.
Yes,
seen that?
ma'am. Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes, so that is the protective coating. Okay. Now, as soon as the ovule turns into the seed and the ovary turns into the fruit, after that, all the petals, the sepals, the stamen, and the style, they will fall off. Can you tell me why?
Because food is forming. Because fertilization changes.
As a result of fertilization changes?
Yes.
No. Why do they fall off? Why would they fall off? Anybody else?
New petal will grow.
Tell me, why would they fall off? Why don't they stay intact? Why do they fall off?
Ma'am, because
Hmm?
it
Because?
has already attained what, like already got what all it needs.
Yes, that's the right answer. Meaning now the petals and sepals are no more needed. The fertilization is done. The product has been formed. The embryo is formed. All the things have been done. So now the petals, sepals, the stamen style, not needed anymore. Got it? So that is why they just fall off. And then what we have is the fruit. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now let's talk about seed germination. Now whatever the seed is formed, okay. Now seed, or you can say seed germination, is the whole process through which the seed develops. Okay, the seedling development is seed germination. and it happens under suitable conditions. Okay, meaning when enough water is present, when enough temperature, like the proper temperature is there, then only seed germination can take place. So what is seed germination? So the development of seedling or a new plant from the seed under appropriate conditions is known as seed germination. That is the whole process of seed germination. Now, if you see, on the basis of seeds, there are two types of plants. One is dicots, one is monocots. So, in like when the seed development is taking place, seed has two parts. Okay, these two things, they are known as the cotyledons. Okay, then in the seed, there is a structure which is known as plumule, and this plumule is responsible for the formation of shoot. Shoot is the stem, and then there is a structure which is known as radicle. This radicle is responsible for the formation of root. Okay, so when the seed germination takes place, the shoot is made by the plumule and the root is made by the radicle. And once the root and shoot, they both are made, then leaves come, fruits come, flowers come, and all that happens. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
So do you
ma'am.
people have any doubts up till now?
No, ma'am.
Okay, very good. So now you people can note it down.
Ma'am, after this class, can you send the notes for this chapter?
But you still have to note it down.
What, ma'am?
You still have to note it down right now. I will send the notes, but still note it down.
Yes.
Why do you ask for notes?
सारे नहीं हो पाते ना क्लास में.
इसलिए तो टाइम देती हूँ कि लिख पाओ. लिखो, अगर
ऐसा
छूटेगा तो बताना.
चलता है ना.
नहीं नहीं नहीं, चलता नहीं है. लिखो, जो भी
No,
छूटे
but
तो मुझे
like
बता.
वो बहुत ऊपर जाना पड़ेगा आपको. Like you have to go very up for that.
Okay, but heads up for future. If कुछ छूटे, just tell me right there, then and there only. We'll wait for you.
What, ma'am?
अगर फ्यूचर में while taking the notes अगर तुमसे कुछ छूट जाए तो just let me know. I'll wait for you before starting a new topic.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, can you scroll?
Okay, wait. Has everybody like written up till here? Noted down up till here? Hmm?
Yes, ma'am.
What about others? Hiba, Kiran, Samina, have you people noted
ma'am.
down up till here?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Okay, once you're done, just give me a heads up, then I'll move.
Learnivio operations left.
Ma'am, can you scroll up? Then, ma'am.
Everybody is done?
Yes, ma'am.
Also, see, there is another thing. When the pollen tube germinates, okay, there is the formation of two male gametes. Okay, two male gametes are formed when pollen tube germinates, and then these two male gametes are transmitted. Okay, so the pollen is not the male gamete. Okay, the male gametes are these two. If you want to draw the diagram, you can draw, or else I'll give you the text. You can write down this, how the transmission takes.
Then, ma'am. Then,
Everybody is done?
Yeah, ma'am. Ma'am, you there?
What?
Are
You
you
people are
there?
done? Yes, of course I'm there. You people
Actually,
are
no,
not
like
saying that
no
you're done
response
or
from your
not.
side, right? That's why.
No, no, no. See, once you're
Okay.
done writing, just say that ma'am done, so that I'll start speaking, and you will not think that I have left.
We said, ma'am, we said.
You did?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, okay. Is the whole plant reproduction clear to everybody? Yeah. Do you people have
Yes,
any
ma'am.
doubts? Anything
No,
that you
ma'am.
people did not understand?
No, ma'am. Clear, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Everything's clear.
As long as it's clear, very good. Okay, are you people done writing up till now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Every single one? Then I'm moving forward. Okay, so this till write down this and then we'll start human reproduction. Have you people had any tests here? Has there been any test conducted?
Here
Yes,
in
For
school,
In
science, no, ma'am.
school or
yeah, for science?
ma'am,
In school or in like here, Learnivio one?
Here.
no.
No, ma'am, no, ma'am, no, ma'am.
Ma'am, in school I had PA2. So in bio, out of 7, I got 6, 3 by 4.
You were
Yeah.
6 out of 7.
Yeah.
Wow, nice.
My madam cut it just on a minor mistake.
What was the mistake?
मैंने फंगई नहीं लिखा था, उसमें पूछा था किससे बिलोंग करता है स्पोरेंजिया, मैंने वो नहीं लिखा, मैंने स्पोर फॉर्मेशन लिख दिया तो काट दिया.
See, when the tests will start here, like here in meaning your online tuition. So then I expect all of you to take that test. Okay. And is it like that you people always have biology like in such minority? Like what is the division of subject in science in class 10? Like how, like for
Chemistry,
the final
biology,
exam?
physics.
Yeah. What is the marks division?
Marks 27 biology and 26 chemistry.
Okay, that.
Physics, I don't know.
Okay, got it. So today we have completed the whole sexual reproduction in the flowering plants. My one question is to everybody that do non-flowering plants also reproduce? Like, yes. Say.
Non-flowering? Mom, like what? I didn't get it.
See, there are some plants that have flower, right? And then there are some plants that do not flower. So I'm asking about those plants that do not flower. Do they reproduce or not?
Yes, ma'am, they do.
They do.
Okay, so everybody is done writing the seed germination part.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Whatever she is doing, you have to copy it. All right, so now we are starting reproduction in humans. Okay. So
Ma'am, लेकिन
before-
पीछे वाला तो किया ही नहीं. That's spur formation and all these things. Binary.
spore formation.
Yeah.
As she's talking about the types of reproduction, like
Yeah.
fission, budding,
That's
fragmentation,
right.
regeneration, spore
Yes,
formation, vegetative
Oh, okay,
propagation.
types of asexual reproduction.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that in the next class. Okay, after
Oh.
human reproduction, I'll do that also. Okay, thanks for reminding.
Okay.
All right, so let's talk about the reproduction in humans. So before diving into the different parts and everything, let us talk about the basic. Okay, so see, in our body, there are two types of cells. Okay, this is the biggest or the broadest division there is. Two types of cells in our body. One is somatic cell, one is germ cell. Okay, so talking about the somatic cell, so all the body cells except the reproductive cells, they are the somatic cells. So if I say somatic cells, then it means that I'm talking about all the body cells, meaning the cells of the hand, the cells of the leg, and everything. Okay, but except the reproductive cells. the reproductive cells are not known as somatic cells. Now, let us talk about the second type of cell in our body, that is germ cells. Okay, so germ cells are those reproductive cells. Okay, and let's talk about the ploidy level. So the somatic cells are always diploid. It has two sets of chromosomes. Talking about the germ cells, they are always haploid. They have only one set of chromosomes. Okay, so our body in general has two types of cells, somatic and germ cells. Is this thing clear to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, all right, very good. So, see, let us talk about the sexual reproduction. So, obviously, in case of humans, again, both the individuals will be involved. And in the case of reproduction in the humans, what will be there doing the actual process of reproduction? The germ cells, right? The germ cells will be participating. Okay. Now, can you tell me why would the germ cells just have one set of chromosomes? Why would it be haploid, meaning half the number? Why?
Positive 2, 3. From 23 from male and 23 from female. So it's given to the individual platform.
It's coming to the what?
No, like हमें कैसे
We're talking
समझाऊं
about the number of cells. All right, anybody else want to give it a try? Why is the germ cell haploid and the somatic cells diploid? Why? Is there a reason or it is what it is? Anybody else? Abdullah, what do you think?
Can you repeat the question again?
Huh?
The question again.
The question is, why are the germ cells haploid whereas the somatic cells diploid?
Yeah, I
Maybe-
know. Because of meiosis, something.
Yeah, that is right, because of meiosis. But why? Why is it needed? The question is that. Why is it needed? I understand it is through meiosis, it is happening because of that division. But why is that division taking place?
Cell development or something. I mean,
It-
growth development.
Because of DNA. ma'am.
Okay, wait, now let me tell. See, if for example, talking about human, okay? Now, if I say human is a diploid organism, okay? Isn't it? Because that is the ploidy level in the case of human. So if human is diploid, so what will the child of human should be? The child should be what? Diploid or haploid? Because the child is also a human only. So what it should be? Haploid or diploid? Abdullah, your voice is not clear. I can't hear you what you're saying.
He's saying haploid.
Oh, the child should be haploid. What do other people think? Tell me. Quick. Samina, Kiran, Hiba, tell me. What do you people think? If the parent is diploid, what should the child be? Haploid or diploid?
Diploid.
Okay. What about others?
Haploid.
Diploid.
Okay.
Diploid.
So, yet again, I said that child is also a human only, isn't it? So, if one human is diploid, the other human has to be diploid, isn't it? Because humans in general are diploid. Okay. Now, why did I ask this? is because you should know that humans in general are diploid. Whether it is a child, whether it is a baby, whether it is an adult or a person of an old age. Okay, all of them are diploid. Now, my question originally was, why are the germ cells haploid whereas the somatic cells diploid? See, these germ cells are haploid so as to make the new organism diploid. Okay, for example, if the germ cells hadn't been haploid, so for example, see, the parent is diploid, okay? But the germ cells, meaning the sperm and the ovum, they are also diploid. I'm just giving a scenario. Now, when these will fuse, the offspring that will be made will be tetraploid. Is it same like the parent? Tetraploid means 4 sets of chromosomes. Okay, like how diploid has 2 sets of chromosomes, tetraploid has 4 sets of chromosomes. So here we can see that now the offspring has double the amount of chromosome, which is not at all ideal. It cannot happen. So this is the reason why, because of meiosis, the germ cells are haploid so as to when the germ cell will be haploid, meaning n into n, then we'll get 2n. And again, this is just like how the parent was. Got it? So to restore the ploidy level in the offspring, the germ cells are haploid. Is it clear to everybody? Is it clear or not? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right. Okay, so it's clear. Okay, so now you know that. So let's talk about, see, before a human being can actually reproduce, he and she both have to attain maturity, right? They have to reach an age of, you can say, a reproductive age, isn't it? Then only the organism, meaning the human, can reproduce. So with age, like when they start reaching that age, there is a development of their sexual characters and there is a development of their secondary sexual characters. See, secondary sexual characters refers to all those characters that, you can easily see them. You can easily, tell what is changing. It is something that is leading towards maturity. For example, for all the boys in my class, you might have noticed that when you were younger, you had a very, low pitched, like baby like voice, normal boy like voice. Now, as you grew past the age of, yeah, as you grew past the age of 13, your voice started becoming hoarse. You can say that it becoming a little harsher than it used to be, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
ma'am.
So that is that secondary sexual character. Okay. And that is, it comes with puberty. After you hit the age of puberty, you start developing all these characters. It tells you that slowly, slowly you're maturing. But this thing, the appearance of all these characters, it is different for girls and boys both. Okay. It is very different. Like this voice hoarseness, it is not present in the case of girls. Are there any girls whose voice have become like boys' voice? No, right? There's nobody here, right? So there are different, you can say, developmental changes that happen in boys and girls. In case of boys, see, first of all, the growth in height, that happens, the growth happens. Apart from that, in the case of boys, the production of sperm takes place. It begins at the age of puberty. Okay. Apart from that, what happens? You can say that in the case of girls, there you can say the waist region, it starts broadening up. Okay, the waist region starts broadening up. Just 1 second, my laptop is running out of charge. Yes. Okay, so what was I saying? The waist broadens. The waist broadens in the case of females. Then in the case of males, some development characters like this, like some of the girls and boys, they start having a very oily skin. The appearance of pimples and acne is there, and then in the case of like girls, the breast size increases. So all of these are the secondary sexual characters. They will happen or they will be produced when the boy and the girl both have reached the age of maturity. Like in the case of boys, they start developing beard and mustaches there. Okay. And even in the case of girls also, facial hairs are present. Okay. And the production of armpit hair, that is also a secondary sexual characters. So all of these characters are there. These are the secondary sexual characters. Is it clear? And this is happening when the body is slowly transitioning to a mature phase. Okay, meaning slowly transitioning towards the reproductive stage. And in the case of females, those females starts to menstruate after reaching the age of puberty. The periods that starts after reaching the puberty. So all of these are the changes that come along with the puberty. Is it clear? Because this can come as a question, like what are the secondary sexual characters that come, that are observed in the case of boys and in the case of girls. It may come as a question. Okay. Now, let us talk about the male reproductive system now. Okay. So the male reproductive system, obviously, first of all, it is responsible for the production of the germ cells that are the male gametes in the case of males. Isn't it? And the male reproductive system, apart from making the germ cells, they also have to deliver the germ cells where to the place where fertilization can take place. Okay, so these are the two, you can say, roles of the male reproductive system. First is to produce the germ cell, then is to deliver the germ. Okay. Now, in the case of males, the primary sex organ is testes. It is the primary sex organ. In the case of females, the primary sex organ is ovaries. Okay. So let us talk about the testes. So in the case of males, there is the presence of one pair of testes. It is located outside the abdominal cavity in the sac-like organ, which is known as scrotum. Okay. So the testes are in a pair. They are located outside the body. Okay. Outside the abdominal cavity, and it is present in a sac-like organ which is known as scrotum. Okay. Now, these testes, they are responsible for the formation of sperms, and sperms are the male gametes. Okay. So the testes are responsible for the formation of male gametes. Now, there has to be a reason why the testes are present outside the body, isn't it? Since all our organs are present inside the body, then what is that reason that the testes are situated outside the abdominal cavity? So it is situated there because the sperm formation process, the whole sperm formation, it requires 2 to 3 degree lower temperature than the body temperature. So for example, if the body temperature is, what is the body temperature of human beings? The normal body temperature?
Mom, 37.
37, 36 like that.
Yes, very good. 37, 36 to 37 degrees Celsius. That is the normal or average body temperature in the case of humans. But the sperm formation, it requires 2 to 3 degree lower than, okay, meaning it either requires 35 degrees Celsius or 34 degrees Celsius, okay, for the process of sperm formation. So that is that. And now you know that the testes are responsible for the formation of sperms. Now, apart from that, the testes are also responsible for the secretion of a hormone which is known as testosterone. Okay, so this is the male hormone. Testosterone is the male hormone, and this hormone is responsible for the regulation of formation of sperms. It brings about the changes in boy at the time of puberty. So all of these characters that we studied previously, meaning the appearance of beard, appearance of mustache and everything, it is happening because the testosterone has been released into your body, and this starts when there is a time of puberty. As soon as the individual hits the age of puberty, that is mostly 12 to 13 years of age, then all of these changes slowly starts appearing. It does not mean that all the changes will occur at once. No. Have you seen a 12-year-old with a beard, with a heavy beard? Have you seen that?
No.
No, right? It slowly develops, okay, as the boy matures. So the primary sex organ testes, is that clear to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, now you people can note it down. And you also know now why what the two types of cells are, somatic and germ cells. And now you also know why germ cells are haploid,
Yes,
why
ma'am.
they are haploid. How would you answer it in biological terms? How would you answer it? Don't answer it to me in English. Answer it in biology. Yes, say. Say. Who was saying anything? Say.
Nothing.
Okay, tell me why germ cells are haploid. Answer in biology. What did I tell you? Remember that and then put it into biology. See, the germ cells are.
Ma'am, can I?
Okay.
Ma'am, when the new organism formed, it requires the cells of male and female of their parent. So through the process of meiosis, and that's why.
That's the answer. No. See, basically, you're explaining the whole step, right? But the answer is that the germ cells are haploid to maintain the ploidy level in the offspring. Okay, diploidy, haploidy, it is ploidy level. Okay, so why the germ cells are haploid? So as to maintain, you can write it down, they are haploid to maintain the ploidy level in the offspring. Is it clear?
Ma'am, what is ploidy now?
Ploidy is like the number of sets of chromosomes. When it is 2, that is diploid. When it is 1, that is haploid. Okay? Yes, now you people can write down.
Can you scroll down?
Mom, can you little bit scroll down? Mom, now you can scroll up then.
Hello.
Yes.
No, nothing, nothing.
Write down quickly, everybody.
Okay, ma'am.